Increasing your employees' productivity in the workplace, clearly still a top priority for business owners. And our next guest created a system that does just that using remote video auditing used in manufacturing plants, operating rooms around the world, providing managers with up-to-the-minute updates on employee performance.
Yeah, Adam Aronson's the Chief Executive Officer at Arrowsight. He's actually a former currency trader, right, at Credit Suisse, so this is a different type of business to be in.
It was a big transition, yeah.
So you have, basically, to explain it, you have cameras, right? Maybe we could focus on the medical side of it just for a second.
Sure.
People would identify with that. You have cameras in these operating rooms, and you're helping the doctors to be more productive in their work. Tell us how it works.
Yeah, so it's actually a combination of safety and productivity. So the way it works is we've got monitoring centers staffed with people using a remote video auditing software platform that we built, and they look into each and every operating room once every 2 minutes. And as they assess what's going on in the room, at any time that there's a safety protocol, something like making sure that they're operating on the right person at the right time and at the right part of their body, they audit to make sure that that's done correctly. But then at the same time, we have software that's taking all that information and helping everybody in the operating room, almost like a control tower in an airport, understand where to be. So the cleaning people need to know when the case is coming to an end so that they can get staged to go right into the room. So it becomes much more of sort of a staging and task alerting tool.
What is the end result in terms of improved safety, productivity, and also cost reduction? Is that the ultimate goal?
Yeah. So one of our big clients is North Shore LIJ Health System right here in the New York area.
Long Island, right.
And so one of their hospitals, Forest Hills Medical Center, really pioneered this work. And they were able to do two things. One, on their safety metrics, they were able to improve their protocols for surgical safety checklists and surgical site infections. The protocols around those, they've been able to get nearly 100%. On the productivity side, by reducing the amount of time in between cases, which they call turnover time, these guys have been able to capture about an hour a day per operating room. And that's worth...
It's got to be a lot.
It's worth a lot, you know. So if you can book another hour worth of operating room time, that's worth a couple $1,000s. And if that's not available, you can reduce overtime, which is also very significant.
I'm always interested in the way the way things are measured. And I mean, obviously, this whole trend towards big data is huge in almost every business to be more productive. But you said it's a couple $1,000s. So you take an hour of time in surgery, and you can value that at $2,000.
Yeah.
How? Well, how do they measure? Do you know? How do they come up with that?
Well, so, you know, if you talk to industry consultants and just look at the statistics, an hour of operating room time on average is going to generate about $2,000 for the hospital.
Add that up over and...
Well, imagine if you had 10, operating rooms in your hospital. It would very quickly add up to over $4 million a year if you could book all that time with new cases.
We were showing some of your customers, the manufacturing, hospitals. What are the other applications?
So it actually got started in food manufacturing. So one of the largest companies in the world, a large meat company called JBS, originally used our services to improve safety. So this is to reduce E. coli rates and cross-contamination. And so they were able to take rates in some cases that weren't optimal up to about 99.5%. And that resulted in about a 60% decrease in E. coli rates.
Now, we used the term Big Brother in teasing this to come up into the segment, which I'm sure you heard. But the reason we haven't asked you, I think Dagan was too, more interested in some of the metrics that you talked about. But that said, has that come up? People haven't...
it does. Every single time we talk to a new client, anytime I do a press interview, it does come up. And the way that we've really gotten around this issue is we focus, instead of giving feedback about individual performance, we've been able to give feedback in the aggregate. Here's how this team is performing. And so by doing that, we've gotten completely away from kind of any onerous utilization of this technology, which could be, threatening to workers. So workers actually embrace it because most people don't get measured for much of anything.
But you could do individual measurement, could you, if you wanted to?
Technically you could, but the power of giving positive feedback, gets the same message across. So if you tell a group of people, hey, you're performing at a very high level, they know that there's, ongoing observations throughout the day.
I agree. I mean, I think that people, especially high performers, they'd like people to know that they're performing well. They like the other people that are slacking to know that they're performing better than them. A lot of jobs.
But what about potential like medical malpractice lawsuits? I mean, does your video get called?
Yeah, great question. It's a really important question. It took us a long time to figure this one out. So number one, we use very low resolution video. You can't make out faces or anything revealing at all, so that there's no privacy issue. Secondarily, the video is only stored for a very short period of time, and nobody in the hospital has any access to the video. So we look at it, we make an observation, and then immediately discard it. So there's really been a lot of ways to mitigate those issues.
Very interesting. Adam, thank you so much.
All right, thanks for having me.
Great
Tell
discussion.
us more as you expand. Thanks for coming in.
Adam Aronson.
I mentioned Credit Suisse. We used to work Credit Suisse, calling for a big drop in.